Well, good morning again, everybody. Welcome to the Team Excellence Call. This is Lynn Gardner. I'm calling in from beautiful Virginia. I got to tell you, I know I was complaining and talking about people bragging about the good weather in California, but it is a beautiful day today. It's just clear blue skies and little, cool air, not too cold, just really perfect. And the fall colors are just amazing right now. We've got the orange and the reds and the yellows, and it's my favorite time of year, no doubt about it. So it's a beautiful day. And as usual, the day is what we make it, right? You guys should not be surprised at what my topic is today, because I seem to run along with current events. And the topic today is the takeaways from the 2016 election. And it's funny, I put that announcement out on Facebook, and I just waited for mud to sling all over the place. It's like, oh, for heaven's sake, we're going to talk about the election, but we are. And that election is finally over. And our leader has been determined, and it has been a grueling process for America. It took a lot of fight on both parts to endure that journey, but it also took a whole lot of patience, for the U.S. to endure the journey right along with them, And we watched two people face adversity and controversy like most of us could never or would never do. I wouldn't want that life for anything. But regardless of whether or not you're pleased with the outcome, there are some things that we can all learn from the process, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The first thing is you have to have a burning passion to endure a race. It's not just a little bit of passion won't get you there. Just a small vision won't become big unless you make it big, right? You need to know what your why is, and that's that why that keeps you going. It's the why that builds the passion within you. It's what gives you strength to endure your own race. So if you don't know what your why is, if you don't have that passion within you, it's time to figure it out. And if you want to run the race and to succeed, you've got to have a burn of your own. Just like these candidates did to run their own race, you got to find a burn to run your race. And number two is we don't live in the past. And we certainly heard a lot of things about the past in this election, right? But we don't live there. There's always hope for tomorrow. In this race, we heard people being reminded of their past. And you know what you didn't see? You didn't see these candidates falter with it. They just kept going. And you need to do that as well. Your past does not dictate your future unless you want it to, unless you refuse to get out of the past and you refuse to look at the future. So if there's something holding you back, if you can't, for instance, forgive yourself, if you can't or won't move on, you will never see success. You've got to shake it off and get out of the past. And if there are things that perhaps you're not aware, you think, I don't know why I'm not moving forward. There are things that you can do to override the thoughts of the past, and you're going to hear about that one day real soon. And number three is not everybody's going to get on board with your mission, no matter how passionate you are. We just saw that. We had an election of two people. Not everybody got on board with one person, and nobody ever will. No more than, anybody in your mission or with our business is always going to get on board with you. It's not going to happen. You can talk until you turn blue. You can share all the good that we have. You can throw every bit of science out them. You can demo them to death. You can even have people experience tremendous physical benefits from our technology, and they still won't get on board. Not everybody's going to get on board, and you have to learn to accept it, just like the two candidates did. Number four, you have to set aside what other people think and just keep running. And, boy, oh boy, I got to tell you something. If just 1% of that mud and accusations on either side in this election, if just 1% of it was being said about me, I'd be hiding under my bed, okay? We can't worry about what people think. You need to be a person of excellence. And if you are, you'll never have to sweat that small stuff. You'll encounter people who are going to go against you. You don't get removed from that. You're always going to run into adversity. You're always going to run into people that don't like you for whatever reason. But if you're a person of excellence, if you're working with integrity, they can never have bad things to say about you. That little stuff doesn't even matter. On the other hand, if you are listening to people in your circle who, tell you won't succeed, you're never going to get it, why are you wasting your time, why are you in that business, why don't you quit dreaming, get off your high horse and go get a job, if you don't set that aside and keep running, you can't succeed. Let me tell you something, guys, nobody has a crystal ball to determine your destiny. You determine your destiny. So if you don't like what they're saying, tune them out and prove them wrong. It doesn't matter what they're saying. You've got to set aside what other people think. Do not let that determine your destiny. Number 5 is don't become consumed with the negative. You know, we're seeing it still in the aftermath of this election, for heaven's sake. You know, you see it every day in our business, you know, negative things going around. You know, you guys know that I'm from the South, and we got some weird sayings, I got to tell you. But my dad used to say, don't waller in the mud. You're going to get dirty. You know, you're either going to waller in the mud or kick the dust off and just keep moving forward. You cannot be consumed with the negative, not with an election, not with your business, not with your family. Negative breeds negative. So you either want to be a part of keeping the negative going, or you're going to move on and be successful. Shake it off, and you can't be consumed with the negative. Number 6, you have to refuse to quit, even when the going gets tough. You know, don't you look at, you know, like this political race, for instance, I think, oh my gosh, the stamina, how in the world do they do it? You know how they do it, they've got that burn in their belly, but you've got to refuse to quit. It's going to get tough. I don't know if somebody somehow misled you into thinking that you can have your own business and it's easy money and you just hit the jackpot, you sit back and drink wine, smoke cigars. I don't know what you think, but you know, it's going to get tough sometimes, and it's going to be painful sometimes, and you're going to have times when you're weary. But the bottom line is you can never quit in spite of it all. If you want success, if you see that vision, if you have hope for your future and goals for your life, you can never, ever quit. You just have to refuse to quit. And the bottom line is, guys, life doesn't make you quit. You make you quit. You know, when you face these things, it's easy to excuse, well, I needed to go get a job, or I needed to go do this, or I never had the money to do that, or I didn't have this. Refuse to quit, because the only thing that's in the way of you succeeding is you. Number 7 is you can't blame another for your failures. You know, again, you could take the election and look at it. You can't blame one for the other for their failures, for heaven's sake. Take responsibility in your own life. You know, we're all going to fail. And I know that you may not like to hear it, but it's when we fail that we learn and we grow stronger. You know, I've had a life of adversity, and I never want to look back and say, wow, I'm just so glad it was so wonderful. It was not wonderful at the time to go through the fire. But boy, oh boy, do I like where I am at the end of the failures and the setbacks that I've seen. You can't blame another for your failures. There's nobody else's fault if you're not succeeding, if you're not growing, if you're not building, if you're not making the money you want to make. Don't be blaming anybody else for your failures. Learn from your failures and keep moving on. Number 8 is you're responsible to do your part in the race, but you can't control the outcome. We always need to be doing our best, be people of excellence, work hard, do everything in your power to, you know, to get people on board with the mission that we have for true health. But you can't control the outcome. You can only do your part. You know, and so when you learn that you can't control that outcome no more than the candidates did, you know, then you have peace about what you're doing if you're working hard and you're a person of excellence. You know, on the other side, regardless of your political position, there are also a few more things that apply to our business. Number 1 is we, the people, will make America great again or not. You know, we have voted in a leader, and we all have our opinions, and we all went our different ways, you know, and there's a lot of conflict going on. But the bottom line is it's the people that make America great or not. And it's the people, or it's you, that will make your business good or not. We can't be looking at other people for the success of that. You know, again, if we're people in America, for instance, if we're people of integrity, if we hold on to high moral fiber, if we live a life of excellence, guess what? It's contagious, you know. So you can't look at somebody from the top in your business. You can't look at an Omar Ramirez and say, well, you know, he's going to make it for me. He's going to make me successful. That's not going to happen. He's going to be there to guide you and to lead you, but you will make your business great again or not, or great or not. Number 2 is what's done is done. Again, accept the outcome. You know, when we face defeat along the way, it serves absolutely no purpose to gripe about it and to stay in the negative. When it's over, it's over. You know, a good example of that is this election. It's over, and it is what it is. It can't be changed. So we need to quit griping about things in life and quit griping about, you know, maybe a deal that you lost or whatever. When you hear no, learn to accept it and move on. I got to tell you, I've had people around me gripe for weeks and complain for weeks, absolutely get frozen in their tracks with their business because somebody they were so convinced was going to buy in or to vote for them, if you will, but they lost that sale. They spent weeks of negative griping and complaining when you can't change the outcome. You know, we've got to learn to accept what we can change and things that we can't change, and just learn to move on. We can't change that. Would it make any sense, for instance, for an athlete? You know, an athlete lose a race, let's use a runner for example, and then they lose it and they curl up in a ball and they complain, they give up. I'm not getting up again. No, I'm not going to do that. And they waller around and they complain about how they didn't win the race. No, they regroup and they keep moving. What purpose does getting discouraged and griping about the outcome serve? You know, it serves none. So it's never over unless you choose for it to be over. A good example, again, would be in current events right now. The election's over, and it's time to get back to business. You know, and in your business, you know, when the process, if you hit a negative, you don't win, you don't get that sale, it needs to be over. You need to learn to accept the outcomes in life, learn to accept the outcomes in your business, and never quit trying. Regroup and move on. And so you see, there are always lots of things to be learned in life, and especially with this grueling election process. Positive things to help us in our business and our future. You know, it's all about, it really does come down to us. Again, we are much more in control of our destiny than we like to give ourselves credit for. It's so much easier to blame somebody else. It's so much easier to make an excuse up. It's so much easier to say, I don't have a good leader, I don't have any leader, I have a bad leader, I have a worthless leader. You can do that all you want to. But the same is true that when we look at our country. Great, we got a new leader, that's great, I have high hopes. But the bottom line is it comes back to we the people. So are we the people in our business going to run the race? Are we going to win the race? Or are we going to keep going? You know, or are we just going to flounder around and never go anywhere? You know, we're not in a world in our life, in the life in general, but especially in our business, we're not in a world where just one person wins. You know, we can all be a winner, but it always comes down to you. So will you win that race with excellence? Will you assume responsibility for your future? Will you set the negative side and learn to accept the outcome in life and keep running like there's no tomorrow? And only you can answer that. So I hope this lesson on the takeaways from the 2016 election have resonated within you. I hope that you'll put positive hat on. You'll keep moving forward. You'll run your own race with excellence. I'll be right there on the sidelines cheering you on. I'll definitely see you at the top. See you guys next Thursday. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye.